Coastal Florida is adding new housing developments every day, creating massive earning potential for new mortgage professionals entering the market. But before you can write your first loan and collect a commission, you have to clear a major bottleneck: passing the SAFE national test with the Florida Uniform State Test. Candidates frequently walk into the testing center feeling highly confident because they just finished their required 20-hour pre-licensing education. That course teaches broad mortgage theory, historical concepts, and general ethics. The exam, however, tests rigid regulatory timelines, exact dollar thresholds, and specific statutory penalties. Relying entirely on that mandatory courseware leaves you dangerously blind to how Prometric actually frames and structures its test questions. The numbers reflect this disconnect clearly. First-time pass rates nationally hover between a dismal 55 and 65%. Falling into that failing bracket triggers immediate penalties. You will pay a $110 retake fee, and you are mandated by law to wait 30 days before you can try again. That 30-day freeze carries a massive opportunity cost. You are losing an entire month of potential origination commissions right as you are trying to launch your career. You have a choice to make. You can risk taking the exam armed only with generalized knowledge, or you can use a targeted method to bridge the gap between classroom theory and test day reality. Passing on your very first attempt means you have to stop studying mortgages and start studying the test itself. The SAFE exam follows a strict structural blueprint. You will answer 115 scored questions divided across 5 weighted domains. You can tilt the odds in your favor by applying the 51% rule, which simply means prioritizing the 2 largest sections of the test. Look at the exam's exact breakdown. 2 massive wedges pull away: origination activities at 27% and federal laws at 24%. Origination targets application lifecycle steps and rigorous buyer qualification math. The federal laws wedge highlights alphabet soup regulations like TILA, RESPA, and ECOA. Lock down the material in these 2 specific domains, and you secure over half the total points required to hit the mandatory 75% passing score. First-time test takers fail because they spend equal time on all chapters, rather than allocating study hours proportionally to the heaviest sections of the exam. Inside that federal laws domain sits the single most heavily tested and dangerous subtopic: TRID. This timeline maps a mortgage. Note the mandatory 3-day waits for the loan estimate and closing disclosure. Warning: if APR or product changes or a prepayment penalty is added, the clock resets. Additionally, TRID uses conflicting standard and precise business day definitions. Navigating TRID's rules accurately guarantees you 5 to 8 correct answers on any version of the exam you receive. Standard pre-licensing courses skim over the general purpose of TRID, but Prometric tests you on the exact day counts, tolerance limits, and definitions. A theoretical understanding of why a disclosure exists will not help you solve a scenario-based math question. You have to memorize the precise regulatory timelines. Florida candidates have an 11% Uniform State Test domain built directly into their exam, replacing the need to take a second separate state test. Every answer for this section is pulled directly from one specific piece of legislation, Florida Chapter 494. This section offers the highest return for the lowest effort. It requires 0 complex scenario math, relying entirely on pure numerical memorization. This reference table shows the statutory numbers the test targets: 14 continuing education hours, a $25,000 fine, 3-year record retention, and a 21-day OFR response window. The exam writers know these state-specific numbers frequently conflict with federal minimums, and they will use that overlap to confuse you. For example, the Federal SAFE Act sets a minimum requirement of 8 continuing education hours annually, but Florida law mandates 14. Treating this Florida section as an afterthought means you are throwing away the 13 easiest points on the board, forcing yourself to rely on complex origination math to hit your 75%. By the time you schedule your test date, you have already invested between $700 and $900 into required courses, applications, and background checks. The Noble Services Agency 2026 Study Guide is the exact tool engineered to bridge the gap between the theory you paid for and the exam day reality you are about to face. Take a look at this checklist showing exactly what the guide delivers. It strips away all the course filler, leaving 107 pages of Prometric tested metrics, plain English TRID rules, and Chapter 494 fines. It also includes over 300 practice scenarios formatted precisely to mirror the whirling and difficulty level Prometric uses. A built-in 30-day study calendar sequences your focus optimally, weighting your early weeks on federal laws and origination before shifting to Florida content for maximum retention. This guide acts as a necessary translation layer that converts abstract industry concepts into actionable test-taking mechanics. Live supplemental boot camps routinely charge upward of $200 for this exact kind of test prep translation. This guide is priced at $24.99. Treat that $24.99 as an asymmetric insurance policy. It protects you against the $110 failure fee and the brutal cost of a month in lost wages. To guarantee results, you still have to put in the disciplined effort, roughly 30 to 60 hours of focused rote memorization spread over 3 to 4 weeks. Check the link in the description to instantly download the PDF and start day 1 of the 30-day calendar today. Earning your MLO license gives you access to a highly lucrative asset. Securing it on the first try requires respecting the specific mechanics of the test and attacking them directly.